Good morning, fellow meanderers. I've got a very excitable Moss. Just had a pointer roll past him. But we're just gonna have him on lead for this morning. And we're gonna try and get him nice and steady, nice and calm. There we go, good boy. But yeah, new experience today. Nice hard frost on the ground, very exciting. Just gonna slow this up because I don't want him to keep pulling. Yeah, good boy. With me. Oh, you're all covered in ice now. You're gonna get yourself cold. You're gonna get yourself cold, boss. Nice and calm. Is that good? Is that nice? Hey? But yeah, I'm out with the Action 2 this morning. Something a little bit different. I did want the Action 5, but it's a nice, bright, sunny day, and I forgot to charge the camera batteries. So here we are. This is why it's handy to have a second bloody camera at times. And I do like the DJI Action 2. I don't care that it's 4 or 5 years old nearly. Still a very, very capable camera. It just really suffers in low light. So morning like today, we're going to be sound in theory. But yeah, we're just walking around Coppice, Kingsbrook area just to have a half an hour or so. Moss, we meet. Yeah, good boy. Have half an hour or so just to burn off some energy. Wait for that notorious Aylesbury traffic to calm its tits. It's so bad at the moment. We have a lot of roadworks going on in and around the county, and it's, yeah, just to travel 3 or 4 miles is taking like 40 minutes. So we are going to do our first walk here, kill some time. Not going to be cleaning no cars in this cold first thing anyways. Don't have anything booked in until 10 o'clock. It's just gone 8 at the moment. So we're out tad later than usual. Although yesterday we were out sort of about 9:30, 10 o'clock. We had a few things to do at the house. And he loved being back for a bit. Obviously his formative months were there, so he was so jazzed to be back in the property. But yeah, got a new home now. And like as in where we live, not as in he's been rehomed. But yeah, it's obviously we're going back there today. We're going to do a little bit of work at the house, just because we've got the driveway free and the workshop is full. Not going to be able to work out of that for at least another month. Need to get rid of some vehicles. But yeah, it's been tough being back at work this week, albeit part-time. Definitely having some issues with my back. But, you know, we got to recondition ourselves. I do a physical job. It's hard. And it's especially hard in the cold weather. In other news from a training perspective, though, we have an exciting meeting coming up next week with a dog charity. I'm not going to name which one in case it doesn't come to fruition. But basically, I've got a invested interest in rescue dogs and rehabilitation and ensuring that dogs aren't unnecessarily euthanized for God knows what. So yeah, I'm going to go have a meeting with them and see whether there is something that we can do for those guys. Teaching dogs the basic manners and building confidence in timid dogs so they are ready to be rehomed, hopefully into their forever homes. You know, some dogs you'll find that they'll go through 3-4 owners until they finally settle on one. Then other ones are otherwise reduced to kennel rescue life for the rest of their days, which I just find so god-awfully sad. And, you know, sometimes when they get oversubscribed in these kennels, happens more in the US, but it does happen in the UK as well. they just put them down. And I just don't believe that you should be putting a healthy dog down, especially when you can train it and it can be in a loving environment. But you know, such is life, really. Is what it is. Got a little one on off lead here. Nice and easy, boy. Give him the space. Let's give him some space. Thanks for that, guys. Appreciate it. Beautiful dog. Very responsible owners. Appreciate that. And I know, and to be fair, boss has shifted by. They didn't even react. But I know that if he was off lead, he'd probably bounce up to him. So, probably a good thing. Just give you a little bit more lead, Moss. Give you a tiny bit of freedom. But what a glorious late autumn morning it is. Do a little centre. Let's go to the fields, mate. One bonus of it being frosty though, the bogginess ends up becoming nice, tough, tarmac-like surface in terms of its hardness. Have a little drinky poos. That nice? Let's go. Well, I say that, and this is a bit boggy here. But hopefully, if we're lucky, we might bump into Nelly. You probably noticed that we're not... come on. Come on. This way. Good boy. Yeah, we're not going on as many walks with other dogs at the moment, just because I need to get him steady on his own first. And yeah, he'll pull and all sorts of nonsense if he's with others, if he's not off lead. Morning. Shift on, Moss. But yeah, we might bump into... I think Mum and Nigel have both gone out today. Nigel being my stepdad. Yeah, I'm pretty certain they've come out this kind of way. But it's like almost like a winter wonderland out in the fields this morning. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, you probably noticed that Moss has kind of lost his off-lead privileges for the time being. And he's been on and off, in and out for a while. But I can't... excuse me, got a frog in my throat this morning. It's one of those, I can't trust him 100%. So for the sake of him and his safety and other dogs, animals, it is very important. We're going to go this way, Moss. Go on. Good boy. It's very important that, you know, he isn't off lead all the time. I've purchased a muzzle, which should be with us tomorrow, because he is getting that nippy, jacky terrierness about him. And yeah, I don't want him rolling up to other dogs, getting into a fight for absolutely no reason. Especially the puppies. He's very reactive with puppies. I'm still not 100% sure why. Don't know whether it's a territorial thing, whether he wants to display his dominance on a more timid canine, a younger canine. But, you know, one thing that we've just got to bear in mind is he doesn't like it. And it keeps on happening. So I'm just going to, yeah, get him muzzle trained. Maybe pop a muzzle on him for the first few off-lead walks again. And just make sure that he is not getting himself into unnecessary mischief. And from Adam Spivey's book, Southend Dog Training, thank you for the advice. He said anyone that trains their dog with a muzzle is a badass. And I love that. Because ultimately, everyone's like, sees a muzzle on a dog. It's like, oh, must be a bad one. Must be an aggressive one. And yes, he can display aggression, but he's not an aggressive dog. He's very, very sweet-hearted and well-mannered with most. but it just seems to be the more youthful versions of animals or dogs where he's not so keen, and we don't want a poor little 3 kilo Yorkshire Terrier of some description getting nailed by a feisty little Jack cross-border Terrier cross. And he is feisty. He has very much that inbred, ingrained Terrier tenacity. It's his genetics. So until we have made him into a steadier and even friendlier dog, with all dogs, we're going to take the correct precautions. And like I said, my boy is not necessarily aggressive. But one thing that I would say as someone that works with dogs is that all dogs should be muzzle trained. Even your glorious golden doodle, your Labrador, you know, these sort of breeds that they don't usually cause a lot of fuss, a lot of hassle. Their default is to be very friendly. But even then, I know Labrador retrievers, golden retrievers and the like to be slightly aggressive when they get into a veterinary practice, perhaps because of a past bad experience with the vet. You know, you're getting poked and prodded around, you've got temperature tubes getting popped up your bottom. Can't be that fun. So, you know, I just, as a precaution, if he ever becomes like that with the vet, he's got a very nice relationship with Springwell Vets in Tring, in all fairness. But if for whatever reason he does have a poor experience and he does require a muzzle so he doesn't bite a loving vet that's going to look after him, that's what I'm going to do. And I genuinely believe that everybody should be considering that sort of approach. But, you know, I would probably understand if some people are like, well, why would you ever muzzle train a dog if they're nice? I guess for the precise reasons I just pointed out, really, just in case. Just in case, because the last thing you want is to force a muzzle on their face, which is unnatural, and then they freak out, and then they have a bad relationship with the muzzle. So, lots of things to consider. Moss, leave it. Leave it. Just a big bag of dog poo, mate. This way. Come on. Good boy. Good boy, Moss. Yeah, lots and lots of dogs out and about today. We're doing basically some anti-social work, is what I'd call it. So we're socialising from a distance, building up that duration, reducing the distance over time of where he can come up to other dogs, being a very, very excitable Jack Russell Terrier border type breed, and being a puppy to boot into adolescence. Terriers play different, mate, basically, and we need to take that into consideration. Same with the bull breeds, the retrievers play different. But like I said, I tend to find with the larger breeds, they're able to calmly lead by example, correct where required. But generally speaking, I mean, like with Stanley, for instance, one of the retrievers that we go on regular walks with, which are going to be a little bit less regular for a brief moment in time. You know, he just bounces off Stanley, and Stanley runs off and gallops like a majestic, beautiful horse of a dog. And yeah, he is a lovely, lovely, steady boy, but he's still only I think he's 19 or 20 months. So he himself is adolescent. So we need to take that into consideration, that he isn't a completely fully formed boy. We've got Nellie, who's my mum's dog, Spaniel. She is a very good role model dog overall. She's taught him how to play and flight, like fight and flight through play. She does have a little bit of a jealous bone every so often. It does sometimes give him a little bit of a little nick. And obviously in our household we manage those moments carefully. We rarely leave the dogs alone together, just in case it gets a little bit out of hand, because play can soon turn into play fighting, and play fighting escalating into an actual dog fight. And that's the last thing we want from dogs that share a property. We don't want them developing a bad relationship with each other. It's been tense at times, especially since Moss has grown older and he starts to smell a bit different. The testosterone's running, the other dog's a female. So we got to take all these things into account. Plus, the property that we briefly moved into is my parents', and it is going to be temporary. But I also need to remember, for the last 3 years, Nelly has been the only dog, and quite a pampered one at that. Not so pampered that she's a princess. Why did my balls just dropped? Like a princess. But she is a soppy little so-and-so, and she's protective of her owners, and protective of her toys. So she does do a little bit of resource guarding, but we've noted basically when they're like children. It's like they pick up one toy and then they both want it. I'm sure lots of people could empathise having multi-dog households as to how difficult that can be, and distracting one to give them another toy, praise them. So you don't need to be engaging with each other for that one toy and getting jealous. And that's basically what it boils down to, is jealousy, which dogs can somewhat exhibit behaviours around which are not so nice. Ross, go on. Good boy. Is that a tiny little nag on the lead there? Just 2 little taps of the finger. Let's go. Look, we're going to crack on here. Little dids. Little diddles, nah. But yeah, he's really quite calm and steady this morning. Doesn't really want to pull me that much. I'm not, as you can probably tell, I'm not really doing any training today as such. Nothing particularly focused. We're just keen on getting this walk dealt with. Moss, eyes. Eyes. Eyes, Moss. Z. Yeah, good boy. Got some duck. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Let's go. Yeah, just a tiny bit there, right? A little bit of engagement, because I haven't really engaged with him the entire walk, and it's something I implore that you should be doing. A lot of my communication has been non-verbal. Perhaps you wouldn't have picked it up on the camera. Little nag of the lead, like now. Come on. Which is proving to be difficult, but we won't force him along. Just don't want him to develop a bad relationship with the lead. So I noted went to pop the slip lead on this morning, and he just started pulling straight away. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the flat lead. He seems to be more comfortable on that, which is understandable. But yeah, I just think it's very, very important to have multiple practices and multiple tools at our arsenal to get the right results out of the dog without being cruel, basically. Us being kind, a kind, loving leader, so I can develop the perfect canine companion, as Will Atherton would say. And in a lot of books I've read, I can see where he's got that phrase from. I believe it's a book by Dr. Fogel, if memory serves. I'm sure there's reference to the perfect canine companion there. So yeah, got lots of development to do. I want a dog that's steady. I want a dog that's going to perform on command. And I've gone back to basics in a lot of respects. I'm not communicating verbally as much anymore, which obviously I do have markers with them. But yeah, the non-verbals ingrain a little bit more. Then I paired a word to it. Yeah, I posted up what I thought was a cute little short last night when we were staying at a stately home, a very cheap Airbnb, in spite of the manor home that we were living in, the manor house we were living in. It looked amazing. We were just around the grounds, and admittedly, I'm probably using too much verbal communication, trying to get him back. I'm encouraging him along, kind of thing. But, you know, maybe I muddied it up a little bit. And someone commented, "Oh, this is painful." So thanks. I hope you had a good evening. You know, I'm not sure why it was painful, whether it was the not particularly bulletproof recall, and because he's a young dog, or because you just don't like my voice, or you didn't like the content that we were putting out. And I must apologise, but all I would say to you, and you know who you are, if you do tune back in, is give me some positive criticism, please. If there's a particular type of content that you want to see on this channel, I will provide it, but don't be a knob. And I mean that in the kindest way possible. You know you were being. It was rude. But you know what? This is the thing about social media. People say things with, you know, there's no consequence. I always communicate with people on social media as I would in real life, in the way that where there's no consequence of me being bopped on the nose or getting into an unnecessary verbal altercation just because I'm being a dick. So just bear that in mind. We're all entitled to our opinions, and we all have arseholes, right? Doesn't mean they're all right, or that everyone's going to agree with you. That's the beauty of opinions. Opinions are steeped in preference and all sorts of other different bits and pieces. So, you know, rant over. If you put yourself in the public eye, you're going to get pelters every so often. So I'm pretty thick-skinned about it. But I just find it an awful shame when people's hatred bubbles through, or, you know, nastiness prevails. But I always just remind myself that generally people that behave in such a way, Blythe, go. People that behave in such a way are normally very, very unhappy themselves, and I'm not one of those people. So, like water off a duck's back, I'm afraid. But, you know, I'm all... It's bloody poo there. I'm going to pick that up. Look. It's not even my poo. It's not even your poo, Moss. I'm picking this up. It's right slap bang on the footpath. Disgusting. In fact, there's actually two poos here. How have they both... There's no way they've both been missed. No way. But I'll pick up your poos for you, whoever you are on this estate. I'm not going to make a habit out of it. But they're so bloody blatant. And all that's going to take is a child to step in that. Or someone else. I mean, they're frozen. So they've been out there all night. Maybe whoever it was didn't see what was going on. Maybe. But not paying attention is basically long and short. Tell you what, one thing I really wish is that these new bags I had grab handles. Right, Moss, let's go. Picked up someone's frozen poos. Dirty bastards. But yeah, anyways, going back to the back end of my rant, just be kind. I've always had the mantra of don't be a dick, and it served me really, really well. There's too many people that are used to no consequences for being a dick. And when you reply in a text format, it's not quite the same as looking that individual in the eye and telling them how disappointed you are with them. I'm not even angry, man. Like, just disappointed with how society has descended with certain people. Yeah, to the tune that, you know, some people think they've got the right to be knobheads. And it's a real shame. Really unladylike, by the way, on that particular case. I remember also when I first started the channel, I had 4 followers and I had a sheep shearer. of all people, come in and say, get a life, you live your life through your dog, blah, blah, blah. I'm not being funny. I've got a life. But you know what? I agree with you, mate. I do live my life through my dog because I love my dog. And I want to spend time with him. I want to show his development. And if you want to collect wool off your animal, go and do that instead. Because I'm going to keep pressing on. And if there's envy or jealousy, come on, then I'm just not going to entertain it too much. Moss, what are you doing? Wait for this tension to come off. Moss. Good boy. Here's the number 14 bus, the one that we got on the other day. That episode will obviously drop before this one. But we had a lovely time going into town, didn't we, Mossingtons? Lovely, lovely time going into town. But yeah, went to McGrumbles or McGruffles or whatever it is, McGrumbles and Snuffles, and it was shut. Such a shame. End up having to commit to Pets at Home of all places, but it was good for his training, so that's the main thing. Also as well, I was going to bring out the long line this morning. I've got the lead in my car, obviously got a bit wet yesterday morning. The thing is like beef jerky. It feels brittle. It's so hard. So I definitely need to grab a waterproof. That's a fact. Good lads. Oh, we've got a putty tat ahead of us. Good boy, Moss. Moss, Blythe. Blythe. Good boy. Go. This way, shift on. Yep. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, we're just about to go to a troublesome part of the walk. It's squirrel country. Come in. Go to squirrel country. This is also always problematic for a terrier with a very, very high prey drive. But yeah, nice like 30-minute walk basically. Really decent. Go on, bud. Don't want that resistance, Moss. Go on, boy. Good lads. Even too cold for the old squizzles by the looks of things, Moss. Probably all wrapped up in bed. I knew that this day would eventually come where there were less about. But we had an amazing acorn season. So there are more squirrels than you can shake a stick at the moment. So it's super, super high in terms of distraction levels. You can see right now, he's looking out to these trees. He's like, where's the squirrels gone? They're not here for you, mates, I'm afraid. Oh, excuse me. Still got the remnants of a cold. It is a bit cold, like it is chilly as well, which doesn't help. But yeah, that'll do us for today. So, well, not today. This will do us for this episode, this input onto the channel. So, thank you ever so much for tuning in. We will have more information as we go on with regards to the rescue centre that I'm proposing working with, and also in due course I will get all of the business side of things set up appropriately with a website, so on and so forth, and we'll get working, eh? Really exciting times, change your career and do something that I ultimately love to do. So thank you ever so much for tuning in. Keep on meandering, stay positive, and much love.